Hello, friends. I hope you all are doing well. Since many days I could not prepared a video lecture due to time constraint. In this today's discussion, I am going to start the key highlights of Union Burst 2021-22 by graphic representation. In upcoming video lecture, I will also discuss in somewhat broad or expand manner about the Union Burst 2021-22. So let's start with today's discussion. So first infograph, give us insights about the universe at a glance, and this infograph uh, subsumes basically three graphs, that is receipt side, expenditure side, and trends in deficit over the financial years. So for trends in deficit, I have prepared a separate slide for that, and in upcoming slides I will discuss it later on. So a receipt side, this is classified into two parts, that is revenue receipts and capital receipts. As we know that revenue receipts are those receipts which do not either create a liability for the government or lead to reduction in assets. So for example, revenue receipts are tax receipts. If government sell their public entity shares, etc., so it is known as revenue receipt side, while capital receipts are those receipts which create either liability for the government or cause a reduction in the government assets. So these may be in the terms of borrowings or loans, and recovery of loans in terms of interest payments, and these uh, give us the capital receipt side. So while in the contrary, there is also a expenditure side. Expenditure is also classified into two parts, revenue expenditure and capital expenditure. And revenue expenditure are those that do not either create assets for the government nor creates any liability for the governments, while on the contrary capital expenditure uh, are those expenditure which either creates assets or cause a reduction in the liability of the governments. So here these different over the period of time estimates presented by the bar graphs, and these bar graphs shows us the you know different estimates by changes over the period of times. Basically it shows the trends. So the yellow bar shows us the actual estimates of financial year 2019-20. Pink bar graph shows us the burst estimate of financial year 2020-21, and the slightly light red color bar shows us the revised estimate of financial year 2020-21, and last dark red color bar shows us the worst estimate of union worst 2021-22. So if we look about the revenue receipt side, the uh, burst estimate of recent burst shows us the slightly higher than previous revenue uh, receipts, that is revised estimate of financial year. And likewise a capital receipt side shows us that government burst estimate shows us that this is less than the financial year revised estimate of financial year 2020-21. And the likewise expenditure side, revenue expenditure is estimated slightly less than the revised estimate of financial year 2020-21, while capital expenditure is estimated, you know, more than the revised estimate of financial year 2020-21. So this gives us the insights about the receipt side of the government and expenditure side of the government in revenue and capital, uh, both of the parts. So next, the central revenue and expenditure, where government will spend money, where government uh, from where government earn money basically. So in broad manner, the one rupee is you know s- segregated in different sector wise. So government rupee basically comes from the 36 paise, that is mm, approximately 36% from the borrowings and other liability, that is um, you know major part government will earn as receipts from borrowing and other liabilities. And on second number, government will earn from GST collections, that is 15%. And on third number, government receipts comes from income tax, that is 14 paise. So likewise, other sector wise, government estimated that the government will earn from there also. So likewise, expenditure side, the larger share of expenditure is you know interest payment. If government are borrowing, a larger share government receipts are from borrowings and other liabilities. So it's a natural manner that government are liable to repay for that, and larger share of government revenue will spend on the interest payment, that is 20%. Second number is state shares of taxes and duties, 16%. And on third number, there is a central sector schemes, that is 13 paise or 13%. So here I want to make you clear about the central sector schemes and the central sponsored schemes. So central sector schemes are those schemes that is financed 100% by the central government, while central sponsored schemes are those schemes that is financed by the both of the central and state government in shared manner. For example, it may be ratio of 9-10, 75-25, 80-20, etc. So I have seen that many examination, as far as for example NET examination, other competitive examination, they have asked question from here also, uh, from where rupee comes and rupee goes in you know different sector buys the larger share or lesser shares. So they may ask question, and that is expected, and comparative wise analysis, so you should have to go through it. So third one is trends in deficits. So uh, you know this graph shows us the trends of deficit, that is over the period of financial years, different financial years. So the deficit parts are basically classified into four parts. Deficit may be in terms of physical deficit, revenue deficit, effective revenue deficit, and primary deficit. First, go through the uh, basic rationale behind these deficits and what are the actual meaning of these deficits. So fiscal deficit shows us the difference between total expenditure and total receipts excluding borrowings. So b uh, does not include the borrowing in physical deficit sides. Second one is revenue deficit. Revenue deficit is a difference between the total revenue expenditure and total revenue receipts. It does not include the capital receipts or expenditure. Third one is effective revenue deficit. It is the difference between the revenue deficits and grants for creation of capital assets that granted by the central government to the states. So it is a difference of these two terms. Fourth one is primary deficit. Primary deficit is the difference between the physical deficit and interest payments. So these conceptual wise we should have to clear about this concept. Otherwise we and does not understand the figures, or it may uh, only rendered in our mind. So the revised estimate of financial year 2020-21 shows us that there is increase in these deficits. The fiscal deficit increases by 9.5% of total GDP. Likewise, revenue deficit 7.5%. Uh, Likewise, effective revenue also increases by 6.3% of total GDP, and primary deficit by 5.9% from the burst estimate of financial year 2020-21. So this is a basically outcome of pandemic, that COVID-19 hit our economy a lot, and we can see it these through the revised estimates. So government has proposed in Union Burst 2020-21 burst estimate shows us that government are committed to reduce these deficits. So physical deficit government has proposed to uh, you know about 6.8%, revenue deficit 5.1%, and effective revenue deficit 4.1%, and primary deficit by 3.1% in the burst estimates. So next one is health and wellness. This is a last infographic slide, and health and well-being expenditure increases in burst estimates about 137%. So from previous burst estimate, it is increased by 137%. That is, in figure manner, 2,23,846 crore rupees government have proposed to spend in the next financial years, that is 2021-22. And as per now, government is spending around 1% on the health and well-being side of total GDP, and government are proposing to spend about the 2.5 to 3% of total GDP on health sector. Because as you know we have seen that how much hit us on the pandemic in over 1 year. So yet not you know the pandemic effects are ongoing. So government also not clear how to reduce the effects, but of course government are committed to provide safety and security, and increase the welfare of the citizens. So for vaccine development and innovation, government will spend 35,000 crore rupees out of these burst estimate for health and well-being expenditure, and hopefully mm, government and also the country will go ahead uh, towards the prosperity. So with that, this is all about the burst uniburst 2021-22 why infographic insights. So as I said that I will also explained or discuss it in a broad and explained manner in upcoming video lectures. So till then, take care of yourself, and hopefully you will enjoy it. Further, do like, share, and subscribe also. Till then, thank you very much. Have a nice day.